Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody to Carmelita Gardens. We're doing a virtual tour like we like to do when there's new things to report, new progress, new exciting things happening, actually at a greater pace than I think ever before. We're at the entrance. We always like to start our tours there, which on the map you can see is right here, the bottom of the map. So we're going to enter just like you enter a house. We're going in the front door here, and we're going to take you all around the community and show you the exciting things that are happening. Behind us is the brand new paved road, so that's an exciting development. And we have a bridge coming. They're expecting in the next couple of months to inaugurate the bridge. And also Carmelita and a couple other businesses, Dan Silva, are sponsoring a welcome to Santa Familia sign at the bridge. So we're working on that. So lots of great things happening in Carmelita and in our area. But today we're going to focus on Carmelita. So we're going to start off by going up towards the town square. And where the town square is, you can see the brown lots here. Those are all like mom and pop shops, businesses that is kind of our little business corridor here. We're going to be calling that the River Walk. So you go from the town square to the river. And right here in the triangle, exciting news. We're right now working on the plans, working with the engineer for what we're calling River Rock Commons. And the kind of the main feature there, well, two main features, the pool. So we're working on the engineering on that now, and Riverstone Hall, which will be an event center. And here's a little rendering that we've done. Just kind of the idea here is that you have the event center here, which will have a grand hall, be able to do banquets for 150 people, business conferences, workshops, things like that. Kitchen, bar area, fitness room there, and nice pool here for doing laps. And if Jurgen's on the phone, I know this is of interest to you, so there it is. And then other kind of lawn games with horseshoe, cornhole, bocce, things like that will be out on the recreation lawn. So this is a really exciting thing that, like I said, is on the drawing board right now, and funds are in place. We just need to get through the planning, engineering, and permitting, and then break ground. And we'll certainly have another virtual tour as that's happening. Um, During our tour, we're also going to go by another exciting development that's been 16 years in the work. I mean, since the very conceptual ideas for Carmelita Gardens, we identified that there were Maya mounds in the community right here. During the planning stage, I met with Dr. Jaime Awe, he was the director of archaeology at the time. Now, for the last several years, he's been a professor at Northern Arizona University. Every summer, he brings student teams. 50 students come down during the summer, and we've talked from the very beginning when he helped me kind of lay out a park to preserve the mounds. One day, we'll have an active archaeological site going on. Well, that one day is now. Last year, he came out and surveyed and talked to his other professors, and they said, okay, next year we'll come out. Well, they certainly did. They showed up, and we have had a really exciting time uncovering treasures from 12 to 1600 years ago. It's community archaeology, so the residents have been able to go over there and get involved as well, doing sifting, finding artifacts, just helping take notes and things. So it's an exciting element of the community that you don't usually see. You know, you have golf course community, so on and so forth, but right here we have an active archaeological site going on, and it's very exciting. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to drive up. I'm here with Ronnie, our manager, my right-hand man. He's going to be our driver. Lisa's on the camera, and Kristen is at the command central. She's going to be monitoring and moderating the Q&A and things as we finish the tour. We'll do a little Q&A. So for now, though, we're going to drive around, and we're going to start off towards the Riverwalk area.
So as you're progressing, if I could offer up a few suggestions to our attendees on the tour. At the bar, the operating bar of your virtual tour, you'll see a little chat function. If you can make sure you open up your chat box and enter any questions that you have for Phil along the way. Some of the questions I will address via the chat and just get those taken care of. Others will pose to Phil as he makes the tour. Generally, in the past, it seems to work better to address questions during the Q&A section, but if they're relevant to where Phil is along the tour, I'll chime in and ask him to address those as he moves along. So make good use of the chat function, all the little emojis to raise your hand, things like that. I have muted everyone, so please stay on mute. It definitely helps with the flow. Thanks, Phil. I'll hand it back to you.
Great. Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate that. So to the left and to the right here, we have lots 3 and 4. And then ahead, there are lots 9 and 10, 15 and 16. These 6 lots have been designated as what we call hamlet homes. These will be the main kind of streetscape. When people come in, this is what they're going to see, and we're going to make a really nice impression. They're based on the architecture of St. Augustine, Florida, kind of Spanish colonial, and they'll be multi-unit, 2-bedroom, 1-bath units in a hacienda style building architecture. It'll look like one hacienda, but it'll actually house 3 units. Lots 15 and 16. 15 is to my right, and 16 is to the left. Those lots have been purchased by one of our owners who is really excited about building 2 of these hamlet homes. And she is not only building the hamlet homes as we had intended, she's actually adding a little element that will house archaeologists. So next year when the team comes back, we'll have places for them to stay. And she's even looking at providing a lab for them so that all of their artifacts don't need to be transported over to San Ignacio. They can just take them right here and work on them in the lab. So I mentioned earlier the River Rock Commons and Riverstone Hall. That's this area to your left that Elisa's showing you right now. It's the triangular property on the map, and we'll have it, like I said, it'll be the centerpiece when people drive in. It's the first thing that they'll see. And I think, the philosophy with placemaking and building communities is there's a hierarchy of buildings, and so you have your houses and you have commercial buildings, but the kind of the main building should be the event center, community center, and so that's what we'll have right here in this first parcel overlooking the town square. Yeah, we can do that. Well, we'll go up here, and then Ronnie, why don't we take a left, but kind of pause up there by the cottages so we can kind of look down the cottages. But the main, there's no properties available that way, so we'll go around. So sorry about that, folks. So to the left here is our town square. The town square is based on very traditional design. You can go, in England and, the US, Canada, Mexico. There's a very traditional town square size. But in the old days, we've deviated from that over the last 100 years. But it always worked. And it is basically about 300 feet by 300 feet or 90 meters by 90 meters. And it's just the right human scale. It works well for events. So you have a farmer's market, art in the parks, cinema on the green, just coming out for picnics. And we've now have a tree-lined town square thanks to one of our residents, Dave Carlson. He's we refer to as Tree Dave. He's planted all of these trees around here, and they're growing up. He's got ones that have different color flowers. They're meant for shade. So when you're having picnics or the kids out there kicking the football or soccer ball around, you have some shade to hang out and watch them. So again, based on traditional design, and then there will be shops, lining the perimeter, and then going on out to the river, which we're going to do that. We're going to kind of follow that path of the river walk. So you come around the town square, and then you go up here to this intersection, and you'll see to the in front of us, Cottage Uno, which, it's everybody names their houses here, and this is the first one in the row, so it's just called Cottage Uno. We have Cottage Cayo in front of us, and then the Economad, Ithaca, so on and so forth. down the lane there. Right now we have a garden club that is our sort of temporary event center, and that's down Cottage Row as well. But the other Cottage Row is now starting to be developed. At the very end, if you look all the way down, you can see where the truck is parked. That's Jerry's house, so she's kind of first one there. And now Shannon is building her cottage right here. And you see one of the architectural features that's very popular is the cupola. So it's really nice. It brings in the natural light and then allows the airflow to go out, and the heat rises, so it goes out. We've designed some years ago. We came up with a design where we have the window and a transom, and the transom is actually a screen instead of a window, so that allows the hot air to get out, and it's very effective. And so to the left and to the right, these are part of the river walk. So on the right, the plan is to have a chapel, sort of multi-purpose building that will allow for classrooms, like Little House on the Prairie. Basically, it can be used as a house of worship and also as a place for students, for tutoring, things like those activities that our community is already engaged in. We have a number of people who are very active in Santa Familia, which is the village. I don't want to say village anymore because we're growing. I think we're almost a town now. So anyway, they community members go there and they work with the school children, with the elderly, with the village council, really participating in the activities and being part of the community, not apart from the community. We have a number of people that work in Carmelita Gardens from Santa Familia, not just labor jobs. They've moved up to management, and even Harry and Jackie, who run all of our agricultural initiatives, they have really helped to set up businesses for locals to be entrepreneurs and own their own businesses and operate them in Carmelita. So it's a great thing that we want to continue with these businesses in the Riverwalk area. So yes, to the right and left now as we go, we see the old tractor, almost like a monument to our farming past, and Harry has some really modern stuff, so that's our farming future. We have 20%, like on the left and right here, if you look down, Lisa, there to the left, this whole stretch all the way down behind the lots is green space. And on the right side, you see we have it also in green space, and it's very productive green space right now. Harry and Jackie and their crew, Daria, who's from Santa Familia, and then we have Eileen. Shannon comes out and helps out, Vera when she's around. So it's also community agriculture, people participating, and it's great. We have our market that used to be once a week, but now it's pretty much open all the time. And we're going to continue to grow more in the community so we can be food secure is the idea. We went through COVID together, and this was a great place to be. If there's anywhere on earth to be during COVID, this is it. So we never go through something like that again, but the whole underpinnings of Carmelita Gardens was based on resilience. My father, in fact, inspired it. He grew up in the Great Depression in Franklin, and he said, as a child, it didn't seem any different than the rest of his life. As he got older or whatever, looked at other communities, how they handled the Depression. Well, there were no soup lines or anything like that because they just went to bartering. They were an agricultural community. They were able to just go through like there was no difference. So that inspired me to do Carmelita in this respect, to be off-grid, sustainable, have 20% of the land dedicated to green spaces where we can grow things. We have now very productive orchards and gardens, and that can continue. And the amount of space we have yields enough that we could be completely food secure. If the sky is falling, no problem. We'll be right here looking at our, beautiful food production. We're on the river. I remember going fishing when we were doing during COVID, catching fish, eating, doing a good, having a good life. So now Elisa's looking at the largest sundial in Belize. as far as we know. It might be the only one. But so this also was community inspired. Dave, Tree Dave, years ago, he said, "Hey, Phil, you know, we're a solar based company. Why don't we have one of the roundabouts be a sundial?" So we did. We designed a sundial, and Rhonda, one of our residents who does music, she's a retired teacher, therapist. She teaches music to Santa Familia primary kids. And she had the idea, it's like, well, rather than using Roman numbers, why don't we use the Mayan uh, numbering system? So that's what that is on the sundial. If you look at it, it's, oh, you don't see the sundial? Oh, okay. Is it, oh, you can't see that. Okay. All right. So, and then to the right, you'll see two lots on each, one on each side. That's also part of the main business corridor, and then access to the river. So at the very end of this road is the river. So the river walk from the town square all the way to the river. So we'll continue on now. We'll look at some of the houses. This is to the house to the right here is under construction. It's kind of a tiny house meant to be a little rental unit overlooking the river. So we'll get that finished, and one of our virtual tours will be able to show you that as an option to come down and, they say, try before you buy. Coming down, stay here a little bit, meet the neighbors, get involved in the activities, maybe go find some artifacts in the archaeological site, go for a swim in the pool, all of those good things. Over here, Mark's house. This is one of our villa models, which is also very similar to Benny and Anna's on this side, which is another villa model. And so we have different options. If you get on our website at carmelitagardens.com, you'll be able to see the site plan, the different model homes, the whole photo gallery. You really get a good feel for the community. I think nothing better than being here, of course. The next best thing, I think, are these virtual tours where you get to really, you know, kind of see it, and you can see the wind blowing through the palms and all of that. But to feel it, you got to come and be here in person. And so to the right is a house that the original owner, sadly, he passed away, and his sister inherited. She sold it to a realtor. It was resold again, and so for some time we've all been looking forward to seeing it complete, and now it is in its final stages of completion. You can see that it's being repainted. These stucco bands were added. There was no porch before there, so that was all added. So it's really coming to fruition, and we're all very excited about that. And so if you continue, there are some lots here to the right. These are riverfront lots, lots 149, 148. And then just beyond that is one of our river access points. So we have 5 access points all the way around the river. The idea is that we're a riverfront community. And what I saw all too often, like in Florida beaches, things like that, is that you know, only the people like right there on the beach or the river, it's like, okay, we've secured the beach, nobody can go here. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody would have access to the riverfront. Okay, so here Elisa's got it. Yeah. So we are now right just past the river access here. And as I mentioned, there are 5 river access points here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So anywhere that you live in the community, you've got easy walking distance. The whole community is meant to be a walkable community, but to be able to walk from your home to the town square, or from the town square to the river, your home to the river, we have all of these green spaces. And not only are there green spaces, these walkable easements that go all the way through. So you can, you know, you live over here, and then you can walk through this nice green space, through this nice easement, all the way to the town square. So again, the idea to be a walkable community with amenities, riverfront for all. And so to the left, we have Kelly's house. This is a beautiful house. And oh, yes, in YouTube, if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find multiple videos of houses, of residents, and activities. Little instructional videos. I think we did one about how solar works. What's that?
Video of our house.
The video of her house. Yes. Yep. That's on YouTube as well. Yeah. So yeah, you'll see Kelly's house, the inside and out. I go in there. So here, a couple more properties that are available that are on the river. It's 141, 142. And like I said, they go road to the river. These are big lots. The lots along this stretch of the river, to put it in perspective for all you World Cup fans, it's about the size of a football pitch. It's 300 feet long, and some of them I think are about 80, 90 feet wide. So just to kind of give you an idea of the size, you can compare it to a football field. And our neighbors, corn and beans, not bad neighbors. So we've started to plant some bougainvillea over here just to kind of add some color to the area. On the left, our good friends Bill and Ellen. I think they're online actually watching. So look at your house, Bill, Ellen, looking good. It's looking like it's missing you though. You need to get down here sooner rather than later. And
Like,
oh, okay. I guess we got a little wind coming, which is actually, the nice thing is I'd say 90% of the time there's a nice breeze that comes through the river valley here and blows right through Carmelita, which is really nice. It's a hot day. If you get in the shade and you feel that breeze, it's like 20 degrees difference. It's really, really nice. And yeah, so to the right, we have another villa with a nice big cupola. Art really wanted to have a lot of that natural light coming in and the airflow so you can see the transom windows that I was talking about. So above the main window is the transom that has the screen in it. And that, again, works really well. Okay, hold on. All right, so moving forward, we're going to go up, take a right here. I'm going to go towards the Maya Mounds. You saw the road that's directly in front of us from the other perspective with Terry's house here and Shannon's there. So Ronnie, if you'll take a right here. So as we look up, so what Harry's doing, again, to try to be as environmentally friendly and use good permacultural practices. All of the debris that is picked up around the community to keep the green spaces looking nice and all of that are deposited on these composting piles. And so he comes out with his tractor and he turns it over, and wow, it makes really good compost and enriches the soil and really makes for great gardening and farming. And so we have another house under construction to the left there that you can kind of see down there. George's house, we just had a golden shovel not long ago. And that's how we start all of the houses, with golden shovels. And then yesterday we had a golden ribbon. We'll show you that house on the tour, that Bill's house. It just moved into it. And so the community comes together for a golden ribbon housewarming. And yeah, we'll continue down here because I'm excited about the mounds. So as I mentioned, 16 years ago, there was this idea when we first started laying out Carmelita that we'd have an active site, and we now do. And they have found just a cross section of artifacts, like I said, dating back to 400, 600 AD is what they're saying. And so this is the main mound right here where you see the tarps set up, and there's several other smaller mounds around the area. The last few days, a professor from University of Pittsburgh He brought his ground penetrating radar and his magnetometry equipment and started to see what's, a meter to 2 meters below the surface. So when they come back next year, they know where to dig.
Just say what they found there.
Excuse me, I got a little drink of water there. So yeah, what they found in this sort of, like I said, kind of a cross section when you have a brand new dig, you're not sure what you're going to find. And our mounds are related to a city that they're just starting excavation this year for the first time as well, Yashush. And this would have been like an elite residence connected to the city of Yashush. And so this is more like domestic archaeology, if you will, where it's the houses of the commons, the commoners, that would be all around this elite residence, which would have probably been some kind of a political appointment, kind of like the sheriff of the shire, the tax collector, whatever. And around it, because we're on a river and that's the trading route, there would have been likely some manufacturing of tools and other things, pottery. And so that's what they found. They found chert, which is flint basically, that is chipped for like arrowheads, dart heads, things like that. Pottery, so different vessels for food, for burials, putting food in the burial, or sometimes they'll actually put fingertips. I don't know, what that, giving their ancestors a hand, but they would do that, as well as sometimes there would be like figurines, things like that. And so they found, all of these different types of artifacts, little obsidian blades that were used for cutting hide or maybe surgery, things like that. And they're actually used to this day for surgery. Obsidian is sharper than surgical steel. So they've found all of that here. It's right here. So they'll be coming back next year and continuing the work that they've done so far.
Hey, Phil, a related question on this one. Are new owners or anyone ready to build, are they having to do a archaeological survey before building?
No, we have LiDAR. We pretty much know where the main mounds are. If that was a requirement in Belize, nobody would ever be able to build, because basically in Belize, if you stick a shovel in the ground, you're probably going to come up with some kind of Maya artifact. This the Mundo Maya, the Maya world, was intensely populated in Belize. They say Belize, country of 400,000 people right now. They speculate that during the peak of the Maya civilization, there were 1 million people living in this area. So, I mean, and now it's 400,000. Yeah, yeah. So it supported a huge population. And again, it's just like everywhere. So no, there's not a formal requirement for building. There's the requirement when we first did the layout for the development. So the Land Utilization Authority is comprised of representatives from every department, including archaeology and the Institute of Culture and History. So that survey was done, and like I said, I worked hand in hand with Dr. Awe when we were laying this out. So there are a couple of mounds that ended up kind of like on a little bit piece of property, but those are like off the map now, and we'll bring teams in and we'll do digs. They're not sure how significant they are. This is definitely significant, the major mounds, and they're set aside in a park for preservation. So yeah, good question, and something we're especially sensitive to. So
We have lot 18 for sale.
not anymore. Isn't that right, Kristen? 18 is no longer for sale?
Yes, as of this morning, it's off the market. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess after they did the ground penetrating radar, and So yeah, so yeah, the lot to the left is Kristen's lot actually, and she's got multiple lots. She was thinking about selling that one, but not anymore. So, okay, yeah, we'll take a left here, Ronnie. This is good. So yeah, you kind of get a view of the mounds over there now. And then you can even see it within the Maya Mound Park. There are two more mounds that are very clearly evident up here to the left. So there's the one right here, and then one just a little bit beyond. And so those are for future um, excavation. And then on this house over here, it was built not too long ago, but the owners have not been able to make it down. And now they're thinking that it might be time to sell. They also have multiple properties and may build on their other one later. But now we're going to go and get it kind of cleaned up and we'll probably put that on the market. But, and then to the right here actually is the lot 16 that I mentioned earlier. So Suzanne is going to be building a hamlet home there. And you can see the proximity to the archaeological site. So it'll be perfect for housing and laboratory. Uh-oh, we got a little
Second house.
Summer shower coming here. So, uh-huh, yeah. So, yeah, yeah. No, probably not there. I would say, let's see. I think he's home. Yeah, we're looking for, we've got Elisa's Jeep, the roof open now. Yeah. Oh, Mark's, maybe, I think he would mind that we get some shelter there.
Somewhere.
Go, yep,
Where are we going?
Mark's, let's go over to Mark's.
Why do we go there?
Because he has a place we can pull in. You want to go back home and get the roof on? Okay, go to the right. I think maybe it's passing. Look, I see. Yeah, I think that's it. That was it. All right, good. It was just refreshment. That was it.
Let's go to the right.
Okay. So to the right, we have the Serenity Cottage here. That's a wood. You notice the construction. We have different construction, which is kind of over time. We've had wood construction, concrete block, and now our preferred material and method is insulated concrete. So it has the insulation inside and then the concrete on the outside. So you have the advantages of longevity, low maintenance, insulation, lower interest or insurance rates. So it's a great product and a great way to build houses. Yes. So here on the left, yes, we have pretty much this section is almost all available. Again, Kristen will be able to walk you through available lots. So where we are right here is 62 through 70, and like I said, most of these are now available. The ones on the cottage row, those are the ones that sold first, and so now this tier is open and available. And just contact Kristen, and she can give you the most recent availability and price list. So earlier I had mentioned the golden ribbon. So up here on the right is Bill's house, and we had a very nice, reception yesterday that Bill hosted. Oh, there he's on his back porch, and we cut the golden ribbon and had a house full of residents and construction crew and friends, and just gave Bill a nice warm welcome to Carmelita. Bill's actually been an owner since almost the very beginning. We like to joke he purchased his property before the end of the world, which the Maya calendar, people were like, oh, the 2012 end of the world. That Bill purchased before that, and then actually went to a ceremony up in Mountain Pine Ridge and the Caracol site where Dr. Awe actually hosted an event on the day that the December 2012, when it was supposed to be the end of the world, but we know that didn't happen. So here again, more green space to the left. These green spaces are 100 feet wide, and then they go the whole length of each neighborhood, and are great areas for recreation and growing food. Speaking of growing things, so Donald here on our left, and Mark on our right over here, and our good friend Tree Dave, they all went in together on this lot right here, that they call Amigos Park, and they planted all of this. God, I was very good about coming out and watering it during dry season. And now you see they have this nice arbor. They've got a little palapa thatched roof there that people go and just sit. And they've privately made it a public park, which is, I think, one of the greatest testaments to what kind of community we have. And they are just great community members. And Donald is a woodworker. Mark is a horticulturist, and Dave, even though he doesn't like being called an arborist, he says, he hasn't been trained that way. He just absolutely loves trees. So good folks. To the right side, we have Tim and Laura. Tim is one of my dear friends from 30 plus years. He came down 2012, I think it was, and set up a whole new life for himself, and just really loves it. I like to tell him, Tim, if it wasn't for you, Carmelita wouldn't be here. He doesn't buy into that, but I know the truth. He did so much to get us through all of the challenges that go with development, all of the challenges that go with development in developing countries, and many challenges that people would never imagine that just come up when you're in a very remote area in a developing country. And but now we're not really remote anymore with the road and the bridge. The path of progress is at our doorstep. So everyone's really excited about the conveniences of, going into the twin towns of San Ignacio, Santa Elena, to the markets, to the banks, to the restaurants, and then easy drive to the airport and points beyond. So directly ahead of us is one of the access points to the river. Let's call it Riverside Park, and it's located right here. So we came down, come around here, and this is access. So it's okay. So yeah, this is where people will launch their inner tubes, and they float around Carmelita to this river access there, and that's the landing. So launch and landing, and it's about a 1 hour float. So just right. It's really enjoyable, beautiful. You see the iguanas and the birds and river otters, things like that along the float. So I don't know. I think we're under a tree right now with the little sprinkles that are coming down. What do you think? We okay to continue? Look at, uh, yeah, we'll go that way, and then we can kind of spin back around, because otherwise it's a longer outside loop. So it's a good place for walking. We've got a lot of people that'll walk around, and they choose different routes based on the distance. Do you want to walk a mile? You want to walk 2 miles or 3 miles? In total, we have 3 miles of road in Carmelita, and so again, depending on how determines the length of your walk. And so this is a home that's under construction right now for Johan and Tilla, and they're living in Belize now while their home is being built, and they come to all of our functions and get to see them a lot, and they see the progress of their house, which is nice. And again, the same kind of building materials and methods that I had mentioned with the insulated walls, the concrete exterior. And then the next house, JD and Marianne. I love their story. They've been in Belize longer than any of us. I think, well, that not continuously. They first came to Belize even before Ronnie, who's Belizean. They came in 1976 as Peace Corps volunteers, and that's where they met. They fell in love, not only with each other but with Belize, and they vowed that one day they would be back and retire, and so now they are, and we're really blessed to have them. Great folks. And then Jessica and Sue here in this house. This is the fourth house that was built in Carmelita. So concrete block on the ground floor, wood on the top floor there, and overlooking the river. They've been one of our longest continuous residents, I think since 2014, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then here was one of our newest residents, Bruce. We just finished his house and he's moved in, and he has a beautiful house. I think we have some. Have we posted a video or photos on that yet? Not yet. Okay. Well, we did a photo shoot, and we'll be posting something. Excuse me. But yeah, he's got, this is one of the villas with the 3-bedroom, 3-bath. He has also a fitness room and a sauna. Nice parking on the ground floor. Nice big back porch. He's got his office. He's still actively, engaged in his business. He's an entrepreneur. He has his own business, and he does a lot of stuff online. But every once in a while, he has to leave home to go back up to the States for business, but then gets back as soon as he can. And he just got back yesterday. No, the day he got back on Thursday. Yep. So made it here in time for Bill's golden ribbon. Yeah, as we move forward, you can see Zdenka's house, the blue house. Obviously, she loves blue. She's was born and raised in Czechoslovakia. She got out of there and to Africa and Canada. And she has an interesting story that in Africa, she befriended and was befriended by a pride of lions. And she still talks about her lion hugs and what an amazing time she had there. But now we're finishing her house so that she can come down here in her retirement and enjoy the community we have here. To the right this is actually the third house. When I started Carmelita, I really wasn't sure, with the idea of being completely off grid and, the organic gardens, how would that resonate, and who would be the community members? Well, it turns out by the third house, they're like, okay, I'm going to buy 2 lots. I want to put a house on that with a pool in the backyard, a gourmet kitchen, a bar, semi-detached guest house, an outdoor kitchen. It's really the Mac Daddy house, and it's all solar powered, not giving up any creature comforts. And we're so blessed that Frank and Amy, who actually bought it was resold. They bought it, and now they're always opening their house to people for everything from potluck events to watching football. But one main thing is every Sunday they host a church service there, and people are all invited. And so they're just a real great addition to the community, and we're very fortunate to have them. And then we have another villa, Al's house here to the right. Another 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on the river, and he's got a little palapa on the river there as well. And here on the map, yep. So we are now right over here on the map, and we have a couple of lots here to the right that are owned by some of our very first owners. They have multiple lots, and I think they bought multiple lots as an investment, and also to have a house. And so these were investment lots, and I believe these are going to come up for sale here pretty soon. And to the right, we have the house that was built for Kristen and her kids, and she lived there for a while, and life took a sudden turn as her ex-husband, the father of her children, but a wonderful, loving father. They were best friends, and they were co-parenting their kids. And Rich was working for Carmelita Gardens, just an awesome guy. And sadly, he passed, and so she ended up moving the kids back to the States. But as you can see, she is still with us. She still is a property owner. She still comes down all the time. She helps out on the board. She helps out, community events with sales. So she's an active part, and she sold to a wonderful lady, Debbie, who's now picking up right where Kristen left off on site, being involved in the activities committee and things like that. So even though it's like you can take the person out of Carmelita, but you can't take the Carmelita out of the person. So Kristen's still with us, and there's Tree Dave. Hey, Dave.
Oh,
Yeah, this is his tree house, and you can see it's painted green, and he's got the wood for the trees and the green roof like a canopy. To the right here is the rain tree. We actually have this species. We have a number of these in the community. This is kind of the oldest and the biggest. That was set aside in a park as well. And the kind of the story of the rain tree in legend, not just this rain tree, but rain tree, the species in general, is if you find the rain tree, you found the secret to happiness in life. So I like that legend. And we actually have a story where we hung a mahogany swing from one of the major branches there. And a friend of mine came down and proposed marriage to his girlfriend, and she said yes under the rain tree. So, and they are still very happily married. So I guess there's something to that legend.
works.
Yep. And so then here's house Dan and Erba. They were also called back to the States, and have now put the house for sale along with the lots. They really kind of set up their little empire here, and Dan has a real green thumb, so he planted all of these adjacent lots. So they've got from lot 180 to 184. This is lot 181, and it's for sale at 350,000, and the adjacent lots are 65,000 each. So if that's something you're interested in, let Kristen know. We can organize virtual tours of it, and certainly when you come down, we'll give you a personal tour.
Go.
And then here we have I'm not sure if Sheila and Roland still call it Villa Scoligato, but that was the original name that Jerry gave it. And then Sheila and Roland bought it. And so now they've moved down from New Mexico full time. We just have some new residents here on the Tortuga, and it's a family. So now we're going to have young families around. It's a family of 4 parents and 2 children. This is one of my favorite houses. It's not the conventional rectangular house. It is a 12-sided house, a dodecagon, and Ted and Sylvia live there. I lived there for a while. They were going to retire, built a house, and then postponed their retirement for a little while and said, "Hey, Phil, you want to move in?" And I loved it. It's just this kind of house in the round, Originally, Sylvia was talking about a round house, but I said, well, that might be kind of tricky for the crew. Could we do it like segmented? And so she's like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." So we did 12-sided. Well, it turns out that wasn't much easier than a roundhouse. So the crew was like, "Can't you draw at 90-degree angles?" And anyway, they did it, and it's beautiful. And it's right on the river. Nice big veranda on the back. So yeah, so we're gonna.
No, porque
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna get towards Uno. So go around this way, go back to where the sundial is, and we'll go past the pickleball court. So as you'll see, we have, houses for sale. We have sold houses. We have new construction going on. We have people buying lots, planning their future. we have people selling lots or, investment lots, or, circumstances change and they move on. So, it's the same as anywhere, you're in the States, Canada, any part of the world, communities are not stagnant, and where people are buying and selling and, building new construction, selling old construction, to me, that is really the sign of a healthy economy. It's like when currency changes hands frequently, you've got a good economy. If it stops, you're in a recession, a depression. We don't have that. We've got a good, healthy neighborhood, vibrant and active. So anyway, why are we stopped here?
Pickleball court.
Yes, we have a pickleball court, and we have a good showing twice a week now, Wednesday and Saturday mornings. We'll get as much as 11 people coming out to play pickleball. There's some diehards that are here, every time. Tree Dave, and one of the independent businesses run by a local guy, George. He's out there. His son Shannon comes out. Ronnie will come out every once in a while. I try to get out as often as possible. You can see the back side of the gardens over here to the, oh, you're over on the right. We're looking at, some of the lots that are on the river. Again, these are kind of football-sized lots here, and they're half acre, and they go from the road to the river there, and you can see some nice trees and, nice canopy along the riverfront. And we have lots 157 and 158 are available, 161 right along this stretch right here. And again, Kristen can walk you through the availability and pricing. Okay. So yeah, Ronnie, we'll go to the left here.
Town square. Just say that there is a town square.
Oh yeah, so on the map, again, you can see we're coming up this way from the sundial towards the town square. So this is it, and beyond, you can see our pineapple in the roundabout. Maybe it's kind of in the distance, but that's where the event center, the Riverstone Hall and River Rock Commons will be. And so we'll go to Cottage Uno here, and we'll be able to have a little Q&A on the front porch. What's that? It's mango season. Oh yeah, yeah. Boy, the trees have been sagging with mangoes, and it's great. I love mangoes. Okay, Lisa's gonna get out here. She's laden with equipment. Got it. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, help is going to take over.
Okay. All right, Kristen, you want to take over in control here, command central?
For sure. I am going to run through, Phil, the questions that came up as you were doing the driving part of the tour.
Okay.
And once we get through those questions, if folks have more questions, feel free to raise your hand and let me know that you have a question. Happy to have you voice those questions rather than type if you prefer. Okay, so first question, I'm just going to go in order here, Phil. Somebody asked about whether or not there's a river walk along the riverbank. And I answered it briefly, but I'd like you to go into that answer in a little more detail.
Do you see the screen?
Yes, please.
Wait a minute, we need to set up.
Okay.
I
No
just
problem.
want to ask to wait a minute.
If you need to I can answer some of these questions if you guys aren't quite ready yet.
Okay.
Yeah, Lisa's just getting things set up here, so.
I think it's
You good? Good. Okay. Uh, yeah. So along all bodies of water in Belize, they have what's called, they call it locally, they call it Queensland. And they still do, even though it's now, there's now a king, but it's basically a 66-foot reserve. And I think, this just goes back to old, like, maritime, laws or whatever, where, a sailor needs to be able to land somewhere. So, you don't own that 66-foot reserve. You can plant in it, and you can get dock permits, things like that. So there was one time where we thought the Riverwalk would go all the way around the community, but it doesn't really work that well with the Queensland, with the private land and all of that. So we have, walkable community and then access points to the river, but not an actual walk around the river's edge.
That would be difficult to maintain with all the flora and
Yeah. Well, and also there's just some privacy for people that are on the river, and not having a busy corridor in their backyard.
right. And I don't, in my experience, haven't seen trespassing be a common activity for people to get to the Queensland. You'd really have to access it from the river if you wanted to be on the Queensland, which
Right.
they to do, but people don't just go walking through someone's yard to get down to the river.
Right.
The question was about anyone or farmers using pesticides and herbicides, and I answered this question with regard to folks within Carmelita Gardens. I didn't answer it from a broader perspective. So at Carmelita Gardens, there'd be a tremendous amount of peer pressure if somebody pulled out their bottle of Roundup and started spraying their weeds. Carmelita Gardens is a very organically and sustainably minded community. Folks do utilize pest control for their homes. Termites can eat away at wood structures, even though these Belizean hardwoods are very termite resistant, but it's certainly something that folks want to keep an eye on. So some folks will utilize pest control, others don't. The Coventech that we use to build houses certainly helps protect, because termites aren't interested in eating concrete. So that definitely helps. From a broader perspective, Phil, maybe you can confirm, but I think the use of Roundup is prohibited or either highly or heavily regulated within Belize. And that doesn't mean that farmers in the area aren't using it. We did have a farm to the east of the community that would occasionally crop dust, but we reported that to the relevant agency a couple of years ago, and I haven't heard of any additional issues with that, Phil, since then. I think that was like 2 years ago, but I'll hand it over to Phil to add context and address that.
Yeah, well, no, Kristen, I think it's pretty much the way I would answer it as well. That in Carmelita, we attract people that are, interested in, pesticide-free, food and environment. Unfortunately, we cannot control those outside of the community, and there is some spraying. I think that it may have subsided. I don't know for sure, but we don't own the property next door, and there's not a prohibition against it in Belize. But they do have to get permits, and there has to be a certain buffer that the DOE regulates. But the reality in Belize is still it's a developing country, which is not just about physical infrastructure. It's also about the government's really ability to enforce some of the things. So yes, we've reported it, and I talked to the DOE, personally. They said they would look into it, but to be honest with you, full disclosure, I don't know that they have or they even will. Want to live in a free country, okay, it is. It's a very, very free country, and that means it's free for everybody. And so we do what we can at every level, from the humanitarian efforts, the things we do in Santa Familia, the things we do with the archaeologists, the things we do in growing and being a part of Pro Organics Belize, and being a part of different organizations and movements, if you will, when we can, to help things move in a good way without losing the freedoms we love. So that's the balance.
Yeah. There was, for those of you who are real interested in this topic, there was a ruling yesterday on glyphosate that upset a lot of people, at least here in the US. And if anyone's familiar with Stephanie Seneff, she was an MIT statistician who did a lot of research into the use of Roundup. And she actually spoke to folks within the Belizean government. I think it might have been about a decade ago. So they're certainly interested in the topic, and they don't just ignore it. At least that's my perception. Something to keep an eye on. I think from what I've heard of folks who eat bread that is, the flour is grown in Belize, tend to have less gut issues eating Belizean bread than they do eating bread that's made in the US, and that may just be anecdotal, but it tells me that there's a lot less use of it. One of the next questions, we'll talk about construction probably in more detail. So I'm going to save some of those questions for the construction specific type questions, but somebody had asked about the drainage and the flooding in the community. So I talked about how I answered about how we raise homes to address the flood risk. But I'll let Phil, you answer the question about drainage within the community and flooding.
Yeah, so we have a fairly, comprehensive drainage system, and there's part of it is able to drain to the river. And again, in the community, we don't have runoff or anything like you would see. So it's the area that was, by nature, naturally going towards the river. On the other side, there is Santa Familia stormwater drain, if you will, that we've tied into. And so aside from like flood events, which we do get in certain parts of the community, not all the time and not, on a regular basis, so to speak, but it happens when we call it like the perfect storm. It doesn't have to be a hurricane, but usually it's related to a hurricane or maybe a tropical storm where it's a very big system that is in Belize and Guatemala at the same time. So it would require a huge system that is wet and slow. So it would have to be moving, and it's such a slow pace that it's raining in the Petén region of Guatemala and in the mountain pine ridge of Belize at the same time for about 3 days. So it doesn't happen often, but it does happen, and it affects there's an area that I'm sure you noticed as we were driving around where we had houses that were raised up, and that is primarily in this area here. So on the riverfront, on what would be the south. I've actually, the map, a lot of times north is up, but I like, like I said, kind of like entering a house. You enter the front door here, and also I like that it kind of is like thumbs up instead of thumbs down. And if you really look carefully, you can see the face of a jaguar here. Here's his nose and his eyes and his mouth is there, and a scarlet macaw is there. So there's some aerial architecture that I did.
Thanks, Phil. So to get onto the question of construction costs or cost to buy and build, there is a question about the cost of the lots by parcel. And then there are questions about, the average cost per square foot to build a home. And there were also questions about how much, solar you need to operate a home. So I'll let you kind of walk through that process. I did want to point out to everyone on the call that Phil did do a video. It's on our website. Maybe we can make a note to include the link in the recording that we send out, but he does do a video where he talks about how our homes are built, and using Coven Tech for the structures. So I'll let Phil answer the questions about cost by parcel, per square foot to build a home, and then go from there.
Okay, yeah. So some of these questions are, would be very individual. So depending on the complexity of the home and depending on what you put in it, it's kind of like, how much does a bag of groceries cost? Well, it depends on what you put in it. But based on kind of what we're seeing as the pattern and the norm, if you will, you can have a house that price per square foot. I don't have right off the top of my head, but I would say a range of 150 US to 200 US. And then you would also have your off-grid package. And the off-grid package is 30,000 to 50,000, depending on the size of your solar, your water system. And so we have a brilliant architect, Louise, and she meets with all of the owners and homeowners to be and works on their design. A lot of times it'll start with a model, cottage, bungalow, villa model, one that somebody else has done before that we can modify to fit the lifestyle and budget of the individual. So if you look at, say, a two-bedroom, two-bath, nice interior porches, using some of the exotic hardwoods, mahogany cabinets, tile floor, granite countertops. I mean, nice, very nice home, really well-built construction with the insulated concrete walls. You're looking at somewhere around probably 280,000. I would say you go 250 to 400 is, again, it just depends on what you put in it and the complexity. Um, so I don't know if that, answers the question. The best thing really is if you have something particular in mind, that, okay, I just want a cottage. I want a one bedroom, one bath. It's just, it's, for me, it's, simple. Or, hey, I want, something like, Bruce or like Frank and Amy have, and I want a pool in the backyard. I want all these. Well, then Luis can pull up homes that we've done and then use recent pricing. And one of the things that we're seeing now is that prices are going up everywhere. That with whenever the price of fuel goes up, eventually the price of products go up. So what's relevant and price wise, almost yesterday, I think about a week ago is when we felt the increase in prices. So the houses that we have under construction right now are based on prices that don't exist anymore. So again, it's something that just let us know what you're looking for, and then we can give you a good idea of what the price would be.
Well, and in terms of the parcels that we have, our green garden lots, which are the 1/8 acre properties that are inland and not on the river, those start at 39,000. And then the most expensive lot, if you will, or parcel would be the river estate lots, which are right along the river, and those are at 79,000, if I remember right, Phil.
Right.
So, to consider a per square footage cost also heavily depends on the type of lot that you purchase to build the home on. And then not every home or style of home is going to fit on every lot. So cottages are designed well for the 1/8 acre lots. And there are folks who will purchase multiple lots side by side and expand their footprint and give themselves a larger yard, like Frank and Amy have their home situated across 2 parcels. So that will affect the price, so to speak, of your entire home. Somebody did ask about if, he said, in order to, James Best asked, in order to sustain the public areas, et cetera, are there any fees such as an HOA for lack of a better term? In Belize, the term is a homeowner's corporation. And Carmelita Gardens is in the process. There is a board that has been nominated and working on registering the HOC for Carmelita Gardens. I should pull up the specific numbers, but it's essentially a tiered structure. Owners who have a undeveloped parcel, regardless of the size, pay approximately $350 US a year for that parcel. Parcels that are improved or have a home or a structure on it, i.e. a business, those dues are in the neighborhood of about $750 US per year. Let's see, there was one thing I wanted to add. Phil, I'll let you take over on the HOC. I had a thought to add to that, and it's escaped me for the moment.
Yeah, no, it's great news. We have the board. Kristen is on the board, and Jackie, JD's the treasurer, and then we have a separate finance committee. JD as the treasurer, chairs the finance committee, Bruce and Art on that, and they're all elected by the community. As the developer, I abstained from the vote. The whole vision from day one, 16 years ago, is that eventually the community would take over, that it wouldn't be developer run forever. And I didn't set up an HOA at the beginning either. Well, let me say, I set one up, but I didn't activate it just because I really felt like what happened over time and what I saw over and over again is that the developers will very often set up an HOA kind of for their purposes. It's like, okay, as long as they're there developing, they have this advantage. And then when they leave, which at some point they do, then that document, that setup ends up being like this dead fist that hangs over the community forever. And they don't have the self-governance, not the right setup for them to become this little, hamlet or a little village, which is the vision for Carmelita. And so over time, we've worked to the point where, like I said, it's great news. The community's taken over and they're doing great. We're working hand in hand. And don't think of it like an HOA in the States. It's not at all what anybody has in mind. It's not what I ever envisioned. And thankfully, the community is running along this idea of a community maintenance fund. Because what you have to understand in Belize is again, it's a small, government, small developing country. So they don't take care of the roads in private communities for sure. And we're a private community. They don't take care of our parks and recreation area, our gardens. The government's not going to do any of that. But the good news is they only charge $5 US per year for property taxes, which is usually what funds those services. So wherever you are, you're probably getting services that are paid for through your property taxes. And then you pay an HOA. So our HOA, HOC, CMF, Community Maintenance Fund, is really just designed to take care of our roads, to take care of our green spaces, our gardens. It's not to tell you what color your mailbox is or whatever, we need to take care of our infrastructure, because otherwise nobody else is going to do it, and it'll deteriorate, and then your property values drop, and it's just not pleasant. So the board and the finance committee are continuing with that vision, and now we're close to registering the organization that can, set up a budget, do the collections, do the funding, take care of the expenses, so you can enjoy your, beautiful home, your yard, the green space, and know that the roads are being taken care of, and the green spaces, the gardens, and it just, like Kristen said, the fees are very minimal. It's like when I tell people the fees usually like per month, and it's like no, that's per year, and they're like, oh wow. So the highest one is if you have a home, and so what it was decided, the community is if you have a home, it's going to have more impact on the roads than somebody that just has a vacant lot. And so the home lots are $757.52 per year, and then the vacant lots are half of that. So whatever that is, 376, something like that. So anyway, I think like I said, it's great news. I'm really excited to see what the board is doing and how the community is handling things.
It's been a fun process, that's for sure. So if anybody has questions about that, you come to me, I got them.
Okay.
If you haven't been to Belize and you haven't driven around some of these communities that either don't have an HOA or have a community heavy with non-paying members, you can just tell by the condition of the roads and their common spaces that there isn't one there. I'm an advocate for it. Especially down in Belize, or it just doesn't stay maintained. The next question is about healthcare. Are there any hospitals or clinics around? How about health insurance? And there's a slew of questions here. So with regard to health insurance, there are insurance providers. What a lot of folks will do, especially if they're retired on Medicare, or maybe they have some kind of veterans insurances, they'll take a regular trip back to the States for their annual checkups and things of the like, and then just have whatever kind of care or emergency care they might need in Belize. There's a few hospitals in San Ignacio. There's St. Luke's in Belmopan, which is about 40 minutes away. That's pretty well equipped. You've got Belize City. Some folks will go even into Mexico for medical care. So there are definitely options that often tend to be much more cost or economical than what you would have in the States if you don't have insurance. One of the things that I did with my family is I actually got an international policy through Cigna, which was very inexpensive. I got it for, emergency coverage, and it was far cheaper than any kind of insurance I could have in the US, but you have to live outside the US for more than 30 days a year to qualify for that kind of insurance. So there's definitely options. One of the best things to do is, talk to folks in the community or in the country, other expats, because people come up with some very creative solutions. I'll touch on the dental real quick before getting into things like surgery and stuff like that. But a lot of folks will even come down to Belize to take advantage of the dental work that can be done there. A root canal in Belize is, in the neighborhood of what, like $500 or something like that, Phil. I don't know what the most recent is, but it's definitely a lot cheaper than a root canal in the US. So you can find access to medical care that is just as good in Belize as it is in the US. Now with rare conditions or things that might be beyond the scope of what Belize healthcare can provide. From what in my personal experience and from people that I've known down there, they will let you know when they are in over their heads, and they will refer you to other places to handle those things. So I'll stop talking now and let Phil add anything there regarding health and health insurance.
Christian, you pretty much covered it all. That's very well done. Yeah. I don't really have much more to add. Good job.
I also like to point out, because people's preference for their healthcare ranges broadly from getting common Western medical care, which is available in Belize. But if you're looking at more kind of old-fashioned or traditional forms of healthcare, there's a lovely clinic. Unfortunately, their structure built down, but the woman who ran it is still offering services called Shining Star Clinic. And she'll do, the alternative things like ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine for COVID. And so in Belize during COVID, it really was accessible to get whatever form of healthcare you felt you needed to deal with that pandemic. And so it was easy to get access to either one of those. asked about internet access. I'll just address that real quickly. Internet access for me was better in Belize than it is here in rural Alabama. I'm not kidding. There's a couple of different providers that you can get at the site in Carmelita Gardens. And unless something has changed, Phil, the two providers tend to be able to cover most of the Carmelita Gardens community, but there are some spots within the community where one provider might give you better access via the towers than others. I have gotten questions, maybe not today, on if there are 5G towers like right on top of us all over Carmelita Gardens. And at this point in where Belize is, I believe the only 5G towers are located in Belize City, maybe one in San Ignacio, but they're a little ways away. Most of them are still operating on 3G, which again was providing me better internet down there than what I have with a 5G tower 2 miles away here in Alabama. So anything else on internet, Phil?
No, we actually have three providers. So there's Digi, Smart, and Infinite out of Spanish Lookout. And yeah, the coverage is great. I mean, Kristen, we have a standing Zoom call every Thursday. And of all of the participants, wherever they are, we're always most concerned about Kristen's internet connection, not the Carmelita one.
Got a major downgrade moving to Alabama. Questions about vehicles and how and where do you buy in Belize? They don't manufacture automobiles, so everything's imported. The stamp duty on vehicles can be very expensive, ranging all the way up to 70% on like an old SUV. So it can be quite costly. There are, again, creative solutions. So as you're thinking about a potential move to Belize, reach out to us and we can talk you through some of the options that can help curtail some of those costs. You can purchase new vehicles, but you'd want to focus on vehicles that are where you see like signage for that type of vehicle in and around Belize. Toyota, Wingle, which is a Chinese brand, Nissan. There's a lot of Fords on the road. It seems like, I had my ex-husband's Toyota 4Runner. It was an '02, and every time I drove that vehicle into town, somebody asked me if they could buy it. Like, they love those old 4Runners because they're simple, they're easy to work on. When it comes to car insurance or auto insurance, if your vehicle is more than, is it 5 or 7 years, Phil, where you can get comprehensive coverage? I think it caps out at 7 years old, if I remember right.
Yeah, maybe less. Yeah, I think.
But once that time has passed and the vehicle's older than that, you can go to liability only. So some folks will go with an older vehicle that if something happens to it and they, can't drive the vehicle anymore, you're not out tens of thousands of dollars. So that again is just like asking what the cost is to build a house. It really depends on what you want to drive. It is the cost to fix a car. The labor is very cheap in Belize, but parts can get expensive because a lot of them have to be imported if you're not going with the standard vehicles that people drive in the area. Let's see. We also have questions about, I'm going to keep rolling down here. Solar, I think we addressed that, Phil. Somebody was asking roughly how many watts of panels would a larger house use? What's the size of the battery backup? And then on the heels of that, because it's part of that off-grid package regarding water, have we gone long without rain? Is it possible to put in a well, cistern size, things like that? So I'll let you address, wattage and solar as well as water and droughts and things like that.
Yeah, so when it comes to power, this is again something that Luis do with all homeowners during the design process, is kind of like, audit what your electricity needs will be. And it's different for everybody. There are, a lot of common things. Of course, you have refrigerators, lights, fans, all of that. But then, some people use a microwave, some don't. Some people have air conditioning, some don't. Some people have, coffee makers, some don't. Some people have their coffee maker on all day. It just kind of depends on your lifestyle And then we can determine the size system to put in. And sometimes what people will do is they'll start off with a smaller system overall, but have a larger inverter so that they can upgrade if need be. And so typically we're looking at about a 6 kilowatt system is what seems to be the standard in terms of the size of the inverter, the charge controller, the number of panels, batteries. But you can upgrade. In fact, Bill, just finished his house. He's living in it, and he's like, I think I've decided I'm going to want to use more air conditioning than I had previously planned. So I'm going to get some more panels and another battery, and so he can do that because it's the inverter was sized the right way. So from that standpoint, again, it's a very individual thing. But budget wise, you're probably looking at somewhere 15 to 20,000. Again, it just really depends on your needs. Of course, you can, the sky's the limit. You can go more than that, but that's typically about what we see. As far as the water, what we calculate, again, kind of based on the size of your household, what your water needs are. So like, for example, I mean, one thing is like most people have showers, but if you decide that you want to have a big jacuzzi tub and you're going to use it all the time and you're filling, 100 gallons or more, then you're probably going to need to store more water and collect more water. So we look at the collection area, which is the roof, and storage, which is typically under a porch. And we like to store somewhere, I would say 8,000 to 12,000 gallons seems to be enough because we just have a couple of months, April and May, really where it's the driest. We still get a little rain, but the rest of the year it's fine. That things are refilling fast enough that you don't need to store that much. It's just those 2 months, and again, we size it based on the needs, the household size of the individuals.
Great, thank you, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody had asked about whether or not golf carts were permitted at Carmelita Gardens and do vehicles have to be registered? My answer in the chat was, yeah, sure, you could bring down a golf cart and drive it around in the community. We have folks who have e-bikes because they just want to get around easily and they don't want to have to drive their car every time they go to their friend's house. Where, it's 98 acres, but to go from one end to the other, sometimes people want to speed that along. There are a lot of folks in Belize who, especially near Spanish Lookout, which is 7 miles from Carmelita Gardens, that use side-by-sides. When you leave the property, vehicles would need to be registered, especially if you come across a police checkpoint. So they will ticket you, and it can be quite a hassle just, trying to get where you're wanting to go if you don't have the registration sticker current on your vehicle. Insurance or registration is fairly inexpensive, as is auto insurance. I didn't really address that earlier, but car insurance, when you're dealing with liability only, I mean, I think I paid less than $200 per year per vehicle for the insurance, and the same is true of registration. So it's pretty inexpensive. Now, gasoline is not. Gasoline in Belize is running, what is it these days, Phil, like 13.60 Belize a gallon? So
Belize, yeah.
56.75 US a gallon. So folks often, Belizeans in particular, like their motorbikes because they're much more fuel efficient to zip around in the country. So that is definitely a consideration in terms of gasoline. Somebody had asked me about this previously, and I said, at Carmelita Gardens, a lot of people carpool with their friends to either go get groceries, to grab dinner, or whatever. But I frankly think that's just because people like each other more than trying to save on gas. So that's just opinion there. Somebody had asked,
And the golf carts can be registered to be street legal. That's Something Belize is very accustomed to, not so much in on the mainland in Cayo and other places, but on the Keys, Key Caulker and Ambergris Key. That's the main mode of transportation are golf carts, and they all are registered and insured.
How hard to get those registrations and permits for a golf cart on Ambergris now, but probably not so much in Kyle. Although I'd recommend the all-terrain type of golf carts over the golf carts.
Right. Mhm.
Is there a food forest or one planned? Phil kind of talked about this as we were going through. Harry and Jackie owned an organic apple orchard in Minnesota for 30 some years before starting their project at Carmelita Gardens. They are working tirelessly themselves and with staff to continue to grow food. What I think a lot of owners envision is a self-sustaining food productive community. Now, obviously, we're not going to be slaughtering beef and things of that, or, growing rice or whatever, but to be able to provide an abundance of the produce, and with the goal of one day being able to sell the produce, the excess, to surrounding markets and areas, and really get that production up. So it is a work in progress, and compared to where we were a few years ago, I'm very impressed by everything they're achieving. I saw the recent mango harvest and I was really disappointed not to be down there.
Yeah.
There were quite a few baskets. They're like, we got to get rid of the excess. Mango salsa for everybody.
Right.
Mike M asked, did that blue house only have okay, we talked about solar. We can skip past that one. Somebody had asked about accessing Belize from the USA. I addressed all the major cities in the US. You can get to Belize pretty quickly. Atlanta, Charlotte, Miami, Dallas all have almost daily flights direct right down to Belize. Seasonally, I think Denver, Seattle, and Minneapolis also offer direct flights on different airlines. So certainly if you do a search in like a search engine like Kayak or Expedia, you'll be able to see all the different options available. Once you get to Belize, it takes about an hour and a half by car to get to Carmelita Gardens. Separately, somebody had asked if the airlines are planning to reopen operations on regional planes from Belize to San Ignacio. I have heard nothing about that. I don't know if you have, Phil. It doesn't seem like there's any discussion other than folks taking their little private, flights to, some of these high-end resorts. There's really no plan to do that in the near term.
Now they had flights before COVID, and when they stopped them, they never brought them back, and just the cost didn't really make sense. I did it one time, kind of the novelty. I just wanted to see the terrain, but it's $100 something, I think, and at the time you could get a shuttle for 80, or just drive your own car, have somebody take you. And so if more than one person, it was like twice or more to fly than it was to just drive. And it's a small country, it's easy to drive, and the infrastructure is better and better all the time. So I think the airlines just saw that it just didn't make sense.
Yeah. Now, somebody had asked about a dog walk area. Now, the entire community is walkable. Our restrictive covenants ask owners to have their dogs leashed. There is an issue with stray dogs in Belize, and it certainly is helpful. And some folks will adopt the strays, which tend not to be as well trained as some of the pups that people bring from the US. So we like to see them leashed. And Phil, I don't know what the update is on having like a dog area where they can be off leash. Maybe you could address that. I think that was part of the plan previously, but I don't know where we are with that.
Yeah, so the plan is at Scout Park area, and I think that's still what I think the community's talked about. But there has been some talk about the area over near the Maya Mound Park area, because right now at the Scout Park, there's not a lot of tree coverage or canopy. There's not a lot of shade. whereas it's naturally existing over in Maya Mound Park. And so kind of away from the mound area, there's a nice canopy of trees. So we're thinking that maybe that's a good place to kind of put up a fenced dog park.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. And also there's just some things for dogs that aren't native to Belize to know they shouldn't get into. Like there's these frogs that are toxic and like psychedelic to dogs, and it doesn't fare well if they dig them up and lick them. So if you have them on leash, at least until they get used to, the dangers in the area is a good thing. And it is easy to bring dogs down for the most part. If you do have a dog that you want to bring down from the state, certainly let us know and we connect you with folks who have brought their dogs down. There's like weight requirements on airlines, but if you have a big dog, there's ways to bring them in by land. So that's also a little bit more specific to the pet owners out there, things like cats. So we can talk with you about that. Somebody asked about mosquitoes. Are they a problem? Okay, if your name is Kristen Kestel, they are a problem. If you're there for a year or longer, it's like they get accustomed to you and they're not interested anymore. So about a year into living there, they started leaving me alone, and I didn't really need to. And most insects just and I have very sweet blood, I guess, because I get bit all the time here in Alabama. I've never developed a tolerance, but one of the nice things about Carmelita Gardens is there's almost always a breeze, and the insects, yeah, you can see it. They're really not too much of a problem when you're out walking about. And then most folks decide to go with the screened-in porch so that they can enjoy being out on their decks in the morning, evening, during the day, have lights on, be eating their food and not have those insects bug them. So yeah, we have mosquitoes. I actually find them to be less of a problem down there than even here in Alabama. Kind of
Well, and Kristen, you grew up in Minnesota. It's my grandparents. We used to go and visit in the summer. I think the mosquito is the state bird there, isn't it?
Yeah, I should just start eating cloves of garlic or something. My husband.
Yeah, no, they're not bad. In fact, amongst Belizeans across the country, you'll hear Belizeans like, "Oh yeah, Cayo, it doesn't have any bugs." It's like we're in the tropics, yes, we do, but it's not like in the low-lying areas and along the coastline or other places, and even Florida, where I spent most of my life. Now it's in the rainy season at dusk. That's when, you want to kind of get into the screen porch, but then the breeze picks up and it's fine.
Yeah, so moving on to the next question. Somebody asked about units for rental. How do you get a good feel for Carmelita Gardens, before you decide to buy, which is a good idea. There's currently, the challenge with rental units in Belize in general, not just Carmelita Gardens, is that the rules to license a property to rent is the same for a single homeowner who wants to rent out their property as it is for a resort with 150 rooms. So the process is a little bit laborious. We have one property on site at Carmelita Gardens right now, which is a licensed rental. It is about to be occupied by a long-term renter, but we have a number of folks who are pursuing the option of working with a property manager to get their properties licensed. We have, I think, 5 homes, Phil, if I'm correct, where the owners purchased those homes with the intent of renting their property either full-time or seasonally when they're not visiting. So I think some folks are working together to see if there may be a way to get moving on those. Phil, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, this happened, in the States, other places, that when Airbnb started kind of, honing in on the hotel business, the hoteliers, clamored about, hey, they need to be licensed. And then, so that happened in Belize, and the Belize Tourism Board is the one that oversees that. So a hotel license is required if you're going to rent to foreigners. If you're renting to locals, it's not. but any tourist that's renting. So, for a long time in Carmelita, we're just, most of our renters were owners and who became friends. So it's like, okay, we're just renting to friends. But now there's, more people coming, and the BTB really wants us to be licensed. So Frank and Amy with their separate rental unit, they got licensed. Art is in the process of doing it. And like Kristen said, there are people that most of our owners have either are permanent, like the residents in Carmelita, or maybe snowbirds, or have an intention to do that. But we do have some people that bought it just as an investment and say, okay, I want to buy this property and rent it out, have it cash flow. And some of those actually did it while their house was being built. So it's like, hey, I'm going to buy a cottage, live in it while my house is being built. Then I'll move into my main house and turn the cottage into a rental. And so that's what's happening now. And everybody's responsible to get their own hotel license. And there are some folks who are talking about like just setting up even like an entity that just does that, like property management, and would handle it. We did have property management on site for a while, but we don't right now. So there's an opportunity actually as things grow and the bridge comes in and we have more units. So we'll be looking for an on-site property manager, really starting now. I mean, really, it's time, and there's an opportunity there.
Are out there. And it is important to know that there are rentals available near Carmelita Gardens. So if you're looking for some options close by where you can easily visit Carmelita Gardens on a daily basis, reach out, let me know, and I can, my email is kristen@carmelitagardens.com. So I'd be happy to give you some referrals on places that would be nearby. How is rubbish disposed of? So rubbish is disposed of on a weekly basis on Wednesdays. There is a service where they come around and collect it. You just have to have it down, on the road by like 8 a.m. I think it is on Wednesdays, and they take care of it. I think it's like 5 Belize a week or something like that, Phil, or maybe it's per month. It's a pretty economical waste removal. It beats for sure having to drive it all the way to a transfer or waste station to get rid of it.
Yep. Yeah, and it's an option. It's not a mandatory thing. It's not run by the CMF or HOA or whatever. It's an individual thing, and but the service is available.
Yep. Somebody had asked about community events. Okay, that has exploded. There's daily pickleball going on. James McIntyre had mentioned that. The farmers market, which they're doing. There are plenty of other things. So when I was last down there were a group of folks that went for Taco Tuesday. I don't think there's many tacos being eaten, but they'll pick a different restaurant each week. And I think there were 18 people the Tuesday that I went. We just carpool there. I think there's been as many as like 24. So that's every Tuesday. There's like maybe it's soup Wednesday in the afternoon. Jackie and other volunteers will get together. They'll take the produce that didn't sell at the market the day before, and that's kind of aging and needs to be used, turn it into a delicious soup. Sometimes they'll do curry. Sometimes, they'll bring in other ingredients, and, it's BYOB, bring your own bowl. I mean, if you want the beer too, you could do that, but, come have some soup. Thursdays, they do like, Thursdays is like muffins, sometimes
Pancake Thursday.
Pancake Thursday. There are folks who do pick up board games almost every Friday. It's pretty frequent. Folks will get together for board games or card games. And then there's all sorts of weekend events. I mean, like with this archaeological dig that came up, there's a whole slew of stuff going on with the community where they're even going to presentations in San Ignacio together. They've gone to Banana Bank to learn about banana fabric weaving or something like that, and did their own little mini rug or something to put under your glass, a coaster, and trips to things like the chocolate makers and to the botanical gardens. So there's just a lot going on, and there is like an official activities committee for Carmelita Gardens, and they'll put stuff together. They've helped with like hosting the surrounding schools for like a tour of the community. There was a terrible rumor circulating in Santa Familia a couple of years ago that us horrible expats at Carmelita Gardens were stealing all the electricity because the lights are out in Santa Familia, but they see the lights are on at Carmelita Gardens. So we did a nice educational opportunity for all of the students to understand how does solar power work and, what are we doing here? And Rhonda, who plays a lot of different instruments like the pipe organ, showed them how her instruments work. And now she's teaching kids how to play various instruments. And Deborah's showing locals how to sew, and they're doing sewing projects. And they can make pillows and curtains for you. So there's just a lot going on. The community is very heavily involved with each other and also heavily involved outside the community as well. James asked, sorry, what's a side-by-side? A side-by-side is those little, like, I don't know, ATV looking things where it's almost like you got a cage around you and it's kind of enclosed, but it's more of like an off-road kind of vehicle. Is that a decent enough explanation, Phil, with my
I think so. Yeah, it's like an ATV, basically, kind of.
All right. Somebody had posted. Somebody had mentioned that Los Angeles has good flights on Alaska. Yep, that's true. And I think Seattle. Frank, hi Frank. Frank said he understands the community maintenance fund is a work in progress. Any idea where the pool is on the list of future possibilities? So Frank came in a little bit late. Phil did address this, but we did have a question early on about like timing, Phil, of when it might, break ground and when the pool might be complete. So I don't know if you have any idea of a timeline, but there's been a couple questions on the pool idea as well.
Yeah, the goal is to have it finished by the end of the year, and so that some of that will be weather related. But yeah, like I said, the plans and the engineering are in the works now. So as soon as we can get those finished, we can permit and break ground.
Awesome. I'm going to have to plan another visit to come down. And
yes, you will.
Keep saying it's going to be a while before I come back, and then 2 months later, I'm booking a trip. So, like, Phil's going to have to keep Uno open so I have a place to stay since Debbie's
it's here. Mi casa, tu casa.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through, Phil, to see if there's anything I missed by way of questions. I don't know. Is there anything? Oh, this has come up on prior calls. It hasn't been asked on this call. It would be beneficial for folks who kind of like to budget and keep in mind, what their costs are going to be. Expats that live in Belize are required to get their visas updated on a monthly basis, and the cost is $100 US per month per person. And you pay this all the way up until you receive a residency card if residency is something that you pursue. To get residency, you need to spend 50 out of 52 consecutive weeks in the country before you can apply. Once you apply, which is a process, it's like a police report, maybe a health report. I was always going back and forth, so I never wound up qualifying for it. But you go through an interview process, the whole bit. And depending on how long that takes, you pay that visa fee every month while they're reviewing your application. And then once you're approved for residency, you pay whatever their fee is to go in and collect the residency card. And at that point, you no longer have to pay the visa fees and you're good. There is an alternative option, which is like the retiree, the qualified retiree, whatever, professional, something like that program, where folks can come in, and if they are depositing a minimum of $2,000 US to their Belize bank account on a monthly basis, or $24,000 a year, then they can come in and get residency on that program. I'm not going to go into detail on this today. We're already at 11:50 almost, but if you have questions about there's a lot of information online about how the QRP works. And it can be helpful to talk with a consultant to see if that might be the right thing for your situation. There was one other note. Some folks have even done QRP and then decided to go to general residency from QRP. So, it's good to make a well-informed decision for your own specific situation in that regard, but it is good to know that you'll want to budget $100 a month for your visa stamp. When you come into the country, you get the first 30 days when you arrive without making any kind of fee. There's little, powwow or I guess pooling parties to Belmopond to get the stamp. So folks at Carmelita Gardens will say, hey, I'm going in for my passport stamp. Anyone want to ride along? And they'll all drive in together and, make a morning of it or whatever it is. And they used to let you do 3 months at a time. I think they're down to like 2 months and maybe some documentation requirements to stay there, like bank statements. But that is a helpful tidbit that nobody asked about. I don't see any more questions popping up. Phil, is there anything else that you feel would be important? And I'll just see if anybody has their hand up while I'm letting you make any additional comments here.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we'll take questions or maybe, for answering later, like you can follow up because yeah, we're at about almost 2 hours now. And it's been a great tour, a great day. There's again, so much happening and there's even more than we can cover in a couple hours. And the best thing is come down, come for a visit, and you'll see for yourself. And yeah, we hope that you'll do that. If you have questions, Kristen is available, like she said, at Kristen@carmelitagardens.com. If there's things that she can't answer, which there's very few things that I can think of that she can't answer, but if not, she always, gets a hold of me and we can schedule Zoom calls or I can respond via, WhatsApp, emails, whatever. But I think, get on our YouTube channel, get on the website, and you'll learn even more about Carmelita and Belize in general.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Phil. It's really nice to see some of our owners who are not down there yet on the call today and getting the updates. It's so fun to see the developments. Good to see you, Phil. Folks are saying, hey, thanks. They enjoyed it. We enjoyed having you. Thank you much for the good questions. And please come down for a visit and experience the community and see that all that Belize and Carmelita Gardens has to offer. Thank you, Phil. Very informative.
Okay. Thanks, Kristen. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.